What is going on, everybody? Justin here, aka No Good Comics, and welcome back to the channel. Happy Thursday. We're talking some Superman for all seasons, issue number 3 of 4 tonight. And so if you've been reading along with us or catching some of our replays, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a very fantastic read. Really enjoying this overall. And of course, I keep referring to us. It's not just me. It is my good friend, Fire Guy Ryan. Let me bring him in. Ryan, what is up, dude?
Hey, it's good to be back.
Yeah, man. Good to see you, man. How's everything?
I'm enjoying myself, having a good day.
All right.
Superman.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I'm digging the John shirt that you got on there.
Oh,
the crown, rocking the crown.
This
is the thing.
Yeah, finally got it.
I dig it.
My life is complete now.
Very nice. Yeah, so I'm excited to continue on with this journey of Superman that we've been dabbling in here, or redabbling in, as you've read this a while back now. And but I've been taking time too to kind of reread this. I just reread it again today, so getting a few reads under my belt every issue that we do here. So but as we were saying behind stage, it's a fairly quick read, fairly easy read. And so, yeah, it wasn't, pretty easy to get into. Before we get started, if anyone's watching right now, if you're not following Ryan, you should. I put his information in his description below. Subscribe to him. Ryan, you've been putting more and more content out, which is always nice to see. So
a little bit, yeah.
Keeping up with the consistency. I like it.
Trying, sort of.
Trying, yeah. It's tough sometimes. It's tough. But yeah, and let's say a quick hello to the chat. I see my man, Brother John's Comics. What is up, John? Good to see you, man. Curious if you've read this series. Let me know. And anybody watching right now, if you're watching the replay, let us know in the comment section what you think of this series. Yeah, so to recap, even from one, like we had initially planned to do this as like one full show, like all 4 issues in one show. But here we are at doing episode 3 and really extending this past like a 2-month marker practically. So I'm glad that we're doing this though, Ryan, because it's
same.
Yeah, the detail that we get into with some of these books, it's nice to like really go over some of that stuff. So yeah, let's so I did as I mentioned to you, a little homework and made this cool little slideshow as usual. I love the artwork. I always love that. I really like this splash page. I know this is from like the first issue, the background that I choose here for these thumbnails, but
it works.
It's all great. Brother John says he's behind, but he's been enjoying it. Sweet. Hey. Oh, sweet. And he said to Brian. Nice. Good stuff. Yeah. So one of my goals is to, I know you have a very nice hardcover edition of this book, library edition. I would like to own that. Or is it
it's just a regular, it's a deluxe.
Oh, it's not
edition.
That's right.
It's called deluxe, but it's
not library.
I wish this was jumbo size.
That's right. It's still nice though. Still a nice collection.
I think last time I held up a different comic and it's like half an inch or maybe an inch taller than a normal trade paperback, but
I would like to get that, but I think I also would like to own the issues. I think that's like a side thing that I might, put on my hunt list if I, ever come across some of the single issues. So it's nice to see these covers. I've been looking them up here as we go along. It does put the cover in the book, but it's not quite the same. It doesn't take up the full page or whatever.
I should probably find where we're reading.
I think it's a
read along.
This is how I had it digitally. I assume that's how yours was. I did make the fall picture a little bit bigger than, or crop that a little bit.
Mine splits it. So it's got a
fall
over here next to the final shot from the last issue.
Oh, from the last. Okay.
And then when you turn the page, it gives you the cover and then the first page of the new issue.
Sweet. Okay. I like that layout. That's cool. Cool. Well, to recap the last issue, kind of or not recap it, but the how we finished off anyways, is that Superman had saved this woman from a burning fire. And it was one of like Lex Luthor's like buildings or whatever. And then he also had his robots try to save everybody, but it was very unhuman like of them to kind of save everybody. And then he paid a visit to that one girl who Superman saved. And we kind of leave it at that. And as we hinted to, that we thought that she would play a larger role in some of the story coming up here. So good call there.
It's almost like we've read this before.
Yeah. Before I get into the details, I did want to ask you, Ryan, what were your general thoughts of this particular issue 3? I'm going to take this out for a second.
It's I gotta say, I've said it before in every other video we've done on this book, but like the first issue of this comic really is the one that grabs me and jumps down my throat and takes over my entire brain, and that's like the pure essence of this story. And I think the middle 2 chapters are the ones that I kind of gloss over and forget when I look back on this story and why I like it.
Yeah.
But looking at them separately, like we're doing here, so it's a cool experiment. Because this issue is narrated by Lex Luthor.
That's right.
Which I think was a fantastic choice. At least the first 2 issues that we've gotten were his father, Jonathan Kent, and her stepfather, I should say. And
then Lois.
Who's it? Lois, not Lana. Yeah, it was Lois. It was issue 2.
Yeah.
So it's like friendly people to him, but now we're getting like the antagonist narration side. Here. And it's a really cool peek into just how, I don't want to say lame, because Lex Luthor I think is a cool villain, but his motivations are pretty petty and small-minded, and I think that's why he's such a cool villain in my mind.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair to say. Hey, we got Entropy in Comics with us up, Kevin. Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, I'm with you. And what I liked about this was that, again, coming from the perspective of not being, very familiar with a lot of Superman stories or characters. Obviously, Lex Luthor is, to me, I know him. I've seen him in some of the older movies and stuff like that, and I get the general idea, but I still don't know much about him otherwise. So this is a nice way to kind of, again, for any new reader, anyone that hasn't read anything at all, I think it's a nice glimpse into kind of getting an understanding of who he is, and also like the power that he has. I know in the last issue, I felt like he looked a little silly, like he was a little embarrassed, like the way Superman made him look. But in this one, he definitely kind of strikes back in a sense, and he has some powers, right? Pulls some strings. So, and we'll get into that with the panels here. But yeah, overall, I agree. These 2 middle ones, a little bit weaker, but not that they're weaker. It's like they're not as memorable, I feel like, as the outer 2, which as what you're saying, like the first time I read this through, and then when we went back and started breaking down issue 1, as I went into issue 2 and 3, I had to like kind of, oh yeah, okay, that, like this one, I was like, what was this about again? I kind of like forgot it until I got back into it. So
there's also something in this specific issue. It doesn't feel like there's as much happening in here.
Yeah.
Like the first one, you had a lot of emotional beats, and the second one had there was some cool action shots in issue 2.
Yeah,
and then this one is more plotting and scheming sort of going on, which I really like, but it doesn't like punch you in the same way that the first 2 did.
No, you're right about that too. It's definitely something that I feel he what's it called? He monologues a lot, or he talks out his thoughts on certain things, and it really stretches out the ideas of what he's planning. So yeah, I do agree, and that's I think why partially I feel like it's the fastest read out of the 4 issues as well. So yeah, so let's pull up these slides here. We'll take a look. So yeah, right off the bat, we get Lex Luthor getting out of jail. It's kind of funny to see me. Well, he spends the night in jail, I should say. And so I don't know if they really clarify. Is this? I assume it's from what we had learned from the last one with him getting in trouble with. He owned the Lex Luthor building. I know he had those green robots come try to put the fire out and all that stuff. But am I right in saying there wasn't anything that really clarified the very specifics, right?
Okay. Yeah, that was my impression too when I just reread this. Like, why exactly is he in jail? But
so I kept thinking it was coming, and then I'm like, did I miss it? Did I like it? So they never really go into the detail, which you don't really need to know detail. But I was just wondering if I just completely missed it.
Just the sense that this is super humiliating and embarrassing. Right. For like the richest man in Metropolis, if not the whole world. I don't know how rich he is compared to Bruce Wayne, for example, but
right.
Lex Luthor is obviously a big deal,
but well known. Yes, yeah. So yeah, we get these bit of splash pages, and as you mentioned earlier, this is where we learn that it's his voice that is doing the narration of this issue. I even try to look at that newspaper a little more. I'm like, okay, arrested. It mentions Lois. It doesn't really say anything else otherwise, but. yeah, so he's getting interviewed right off the bat, asked, getting all the questions by Lois and the rest of the media team. Meanwhile, basically just gets in his helicopter and is like, get me the heck out of here. And then as that happens, he gets stopped as Superman comes flying through. His pilot's trying to warn Lex Luthor. And he's like, what's going on back there? And then, he makes it back and basically starts his monologuing and explaining some of the different things about it. Like, one, just his love for the city, right? He kind of reminded me of like Kingpin in a way.
I got that vibe too while reading this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He clearly has this passion for the place that he loves and feels that he has turned. It's been him this whole time that's really turned this place into the great place that it is. So he has this, I guess, like this entitlement or, feeling of that this is his city. And he kind of just shrugs off the fact that he was arrested, even though it was, it was what it was. But he kind of explains, I know he mentions something about like, self-pity is for lesser men. He kind of just shrugs it off.
I don't know if this is intentional, but in these panels here, the lettering really, to me, emphasizes the fact that this is a lonely man stuck in big building in a big penthouse all by himself.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have like one tiny little speech or thought bubble on each of these panels here as he's like showering and getting dressed and getting a shave and having a drink. It feels very solitary and lonely. And I think the very sparse narration helps a lot at that one.
Yep, that is, great point. It definitely, the emptiness of the rooms and how large the rooms are, and yet you just see him there, his shadow. Like you said, he's drinking by himself. He does have this person come and shave it for him, essentially, but it's clearly like a co-worker or someone that's he's paying to do this, not a friend or anything of that nature. Hey, we got Chad in the house. What is up? Good to see you, man. It says you need to read Tomasi's run of Superman. Just saying. Yeah, I've heard good things.
Also need to read that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I am doing my exploration of Superman, so that is something I will keep in mind. And then we kind of get into during this whole shaving scene. Is this where he just says like, "Oh, you made a mistake. I forgive you." Yeah, that's this whole thing.
Very, very generous of him.
Mm-hmm.
he's very godlike.
Yeah,
I forgive you for your stupid mistake, human.
Right. And is this just his way of like, I guess, just building himself back up again? His, I'm better than the world ego and all that stuff. I imagine
everyone else is beneath me.
Right. After just being in a jail cell, he's got to kind of build that back, right? Now, I do like the following slide here where he is going through the paperwork. He's sitting and it's just night. It's the morning, midday, and then night, and he just hasn't moved. He's just in the same place. But he talks a little bit about, or is it in this one? Oh, yeah. He's talking about like the moves he's going to have to make to kind of clear his name. And he's talking about like, the right judges will have to be spoken to. Police captains will require a well-timed donation. Favors, which I had other plans for, will be called upon. So this is where I really got that vibe of like, he is in full control in this city. And whether it's, favors that are owed or the money he has that can pay things off, the control he has is dangerous, and he has it. So that was kind of the vibe that I got from these pages.
Yeah, he can act like a philanthropist, billionaire, or whatever, all he wants. But right here, you can see that he is just a straight gangster.
Yeah.
Talking about donating to politicians and greasing cops and like, that's pure Capone stuff.
Yeah, big time. Yeah. He says, until finally, even those so he says, until finally, even those who were present last night would doubt it ever happened. So yeah, he's completely just wiping the slate clean. Oh, and then he goes, leaving only my rival, and that's where we get this cool splash page here. This was awesome. Just seeing him floating there outside the window, which, by the way, this, I realized after reading this through again, we get this scene a lot in this book.
Which one?
Like it repeats like 2 or 3 times where he's in the window of Lex, like a very like a similar.
I think it happens in this issue.
Yeah, both in this issue.
Yeah,
him kind of standing out there for different reasons as we go through this.
Okay. Yep.
But yeah, so he offers him a drink. He says, I'd offer you a drink, but imagine that wouldn't do you any good. And he said, although it might do you something good. Yeah, long before you appeared in the scene. Yeah, he just kind of reminds Superman, like, hey, just so you know, like, this was my town. I built it to what it is. Again, as a new reader, kind of getting a little bit of that backstory, from what he views himself as doing for the city.
And I kind of appreciate seeing it from his perspective because, like, after doing his whole life work, of building himself in this city up, suddenly out of nowhere, this like alien guy just zooms in. It's like, I'm taking over this town. It's mine now. And all these signs saying like, thanks to Superman, Lex Luthor's just sitting here looking out the window like, it's mine. Should have been mine.
He even calls them their new mascot. He says public's little infatuation with their new mascot while you can. He says, enjoy it. And then he said, I love this line. He says, fame is fleeting, but Lex Luthor is forever. As he gleams off into the distance. Very, very villainous.
Very Luthor line.
And then we get we get some flash forwards to this stuff going on here. So we do get that girl back from that last episode. But you see he's been busy working with her. What'd you think of some of this stuff? Just these next couple of scenes, I guess.
Even knowing what's about to come up next, I'm still not sure why they're doing this to her. She was already super in love with Superman, and like she had a shrine to him in her apartment even before she was like brainwashed like this. Like, I'm not sure exactly what Lex Luthor is doing. Maybe I read this way too fast, but
so I think that he selected her personally because of that individual or that personalized touch on what she meant or her connection with Superman. That she wasn't necessarily just some random person, even though it was random in the grand scheme of things. They did have this history now that he's saved her from the last episode. And so I think just knowing that he wants to hurt him that much more is that he did it with someone that he knows, in a sense, as we know what happens, coming up here. So a part of me was just thinking like, that's just, he's trying to make it more personable for the big blow, or the big stuff to come. But also now, so she's like, what? She's like, what's the word? She like works with plants and stuff like that, or
she's some kind of scientist, if I remember correctly.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what kind, but I think that also plays into why she was chosen.
Right. So yeah. So it's like they took some of her ideas or something to that effect, and he's kind of like tricked her, right? Like he's like, hey, I have a way you can help Superman, and she's all about that. She's like, okay, yeah, however I can join in. But of course now she's like, she looks like possessed there almost.
I love how they snuck in the Action 1 homage too, with him lifting the car up there. She's watching all these like,
ooh, I didn't notice
all this footage of Superman on this big screen, and the first one on the far left is it's that classic lifting up the car cover.
Yeah, good call. I did not catch the first. I glanced at it, but I didn't like really realize that. I love this scene though overall because it's like just showing like him save her. We get the blue and red streams behind him as he's.
I want that room. I want to play video games in that room.
Oh my god! Yeah.
On that screen.
Yeah, this is just one. Why do we not have theaters like this yet?
Or watch Top Gun for the 4th time?
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, there you go.
I don't know if I can wait till then to watch it for the 4th time, but to get these types of screens. But yeah, that would be awesome. Such a good movie. Don't derail us, Ryan. I will talk about Top Gun all night here.
I know you will.
Did you see it yet?
No, hell no. I'm not gonna watch that movie.
Oh, you're not gonna watch it? Oh,
I'll watch it when it's free and I don't have to do anything.
That's fair. So yeah, I would think that we'd have these types of screens though nowadays, like a three wall, theater. I don't know. To my knowledge, I don't think we have that. But
it's like a VR, but like gigantic.
Right. And then I do like that there's this black ribbon that kind of goes across the top, and it's giving some of the sayings of what we know, Superman, faster than a speeding bullet and all that stuff, as well. I don't know if it's just like part of his sayings and stuff. It's a bird, it's a plane. It's like a song essentially.
I think it's like the old, like from the radio show or something.
Oh, okay.
From way back in the olden times.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman.
Yeah,
yeah, just the old radio guy. Like my favorite voice.
You that. Yeah.
I love doing that voice.
Yeah. That's great. Gonna make that a clip later, Ryan.
Yeah, there we go. We'll do that.
Yeah.
It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. Like
classic. All right, so we get meanwhile, it's kind of a flash forward here. Now we get a little glimpse of the Daily Planet, and Lois snooping through Superman's or Clark's paperwork, and she sees her initials and thinks that it's about her and all this stuff, and he's not happy about it. Look at his eyebrows there. He's like, excuse me, what are you doing? Basically finds her initials, and it's and corrects her when,
yeah,
LL. Yeah, she's like, how many other
initials? Yeah,
yeah.
If it was RS,
you'd
be
like,
wait a minute.
I like how she's like, he's like Lana Lang. She's like, oh, but she flips it on him. She's like, I think you owe me an apology. What does she say? She just kind of rattles off. She goes, well, there you go then. It's the kind of mistake anybody could make, really. You know how competitive this business is, Smallville. I love how she calls him Smallville. How many people do you know that have the initials LL? He's like, truth.
Cuts straight to Lex Luthor's tower, which is a nice touch. I also love on that third page you have over here. Just it's one of my main memories, I guess, with this book is just how small and condensed all of his features are in the center of his face. Like there's so much like real estate. He's got an enormous chin, but like his mouth and his nose are just all way up here next to his eyes. It's all so scrunchy. And
yet you can pull so much emotion out of it. Like you understand his like frustration in what she's up to or whatever. It's well done. Hey, what's up, Kenneth? We got Kenneth in the house. Good to see you, my friend. So yeah, that was good. So while they're kind of bickering in some of this, she ends up passing out. And this is where we kind of get the ball rolling a little bit. This is where we see, or we start to wonder, like, what's going on. And it's not just here. But as he looks up, did I miss a slide? Maybe I did miss a slide.
You bastard. I knew this would happen.
I knew this would happen. Get it prepared, Ryan.
Did we? I don't know if you missed one.
No, it's
oh yeah, no, you did.
Oh, it's the big one. Oh my gosh, how did I miss this? I can't believe it.
Where he's like,
what a rookie, huh? Nice.
She's collapsing, and you're looking around, and everybody in the entire office is falling over.
Yep.
Very scary.
Totally. I like how it's done too, because it's like very focused on just her at first. She's fainting, and he's wondering why, and then he looks up, and then you just get hit with that important splash panel that I just happened to forget. What the heck? I don't know how I skipped that. Anyway, so then he puts her down. Okay, so that's what it is. It's in between these two slides that we're looking at right here, or these two pages. So he puts her down. He's trying to wake her up. He says, "Come on, Lois," and then we get a flash over to this bad man here. He says, "The American way." I love
this entire next sequence, because this is exactly the kind of plot that would work against Superman, because that's the number one critique everybody says for why they don't care about this character, because he's so boring. He's invincible. He can solve anything. But Lex Luthor has concocted a plan here that specifically strikes at the things he's kind of incapable of controlling, like the atmosphere and the environment, and like,
right.
It's not just a big monster for him to fight. There's stuff happening.
You're right. And and these scenes here, we get to see his actions, and he's like scrambling, trying to figure this out. and using all his strength and his abilities to fly and stop trains. And as you're saying, like, I love the narration here, where he even says he can bend steel until he's blue in the face. He can see through walls clear to China. What was the other one? He can even fly from here to the moon for all the good that it'll do him. This time there will be no one for him to bully. I love that middle page too, by the way. That would be a cool poster.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that would be a really cool poster. I'll hold that up. Let me see that on the book version of that. Oh yeah, that's cool. Yep. Both of them there together, they look nice. But yeah, so this narration is just great. Like a Dalmatian tied to the front of an empty fire engine.
Smelling the smoke, pulling ferociously at the leash, barking at the wind with no one to answer. It really sums it up. Like, he's capable of doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
But when everybody in the world just randomly falls over for no discernible reason, you'd panic. Like, what do you do? Right. It's not affecting you for some reason either. Superman appears to be perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm. Which is something that Lex turns on him too, right? As we get closer to this, kind of pointing out him being an alien. So yeah, he says no crowds to cheers, good intentions either. Yeah, so this was a great scene. I really like this combination of pages, actually, because I like this side view of it, and it was, the full 2-page, and then followed by the head-on angle, basically, of the train, which is cool.
I love his like handprints in the front of the train there too, from seeing where he was holding.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that. Like, of the two. Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
perfect.
And then so now we get him visiting Star Labs, which he's trying to talk to some scientists who luckily were inside safely from getting sick from this stuff, but he's able to talk with them. But yeah, this is where I think what I like about this is that it's to your point, like, he has all the strength and all this other stuff, but at the end of the day, like, there are weaknesses or things he doesn't know. Like, obviously he's not a scientist or anything like that, so he needs to work with others, whether they be other superheroes or non-superheroes, even to save the day, essentially. So so we get this scientist, I should say. And they're trying to talk through this whole situation of why the air is gassed up, and how they stop it. Professor Crosby, her name is.
It's a pretty quick scene, though. I mean, she basically just tells him to go talk to Lex Luthor.
Oh yeah. He does not look happy either. That one panel at the bottom right. She's like, "You're better off finding the original carrier." Which, again, all part of Luthor's plans, right? And here we get more of this scene of him outside his window here, and some really interesting exchanges here go on, just in terms of like him even saying like, "How come you're not sick right now?" And Luthor explains like his whole building has been like safely what's he call it? Like, heightened senses.
He says certain floors of not the whole building.
Oh no, not the whole building. Okay,
certain floors, which is perfect dick move.
Yeah. How convenient.
I'm safe.
Yeah,
but like I'm sure the the employee lounge area downstairs
not looking so good.
That's not important. But my penthouse is totally sealed off.
Yeah. Yep. He says I've got entire floors of people who need medical care, and he's like, "Why aren't you infected?" And Lex says certain floors are kept within controlled environments. Can't be too careful with terrorists. A better question would be, why aren't you affected? He's like, what do you mean? He goes, I mean, however, your quote unquote powers manifested scientifically, biologically, or perhaps alien in nature. He's like, alien. I just like that this was like a part of the flip, and really to get in Superman's head of this, like, you ever think of that? Like, you ever think that, you brought this here or something, even though he doesn't really buy it, but he's still like, putting that question.
That's not the worst guess in the world, though. This could just be like a delayed reaction to some kind of, alien parasite that he brought with him from Krypton or something.
Right. Yeah, and because he's not like a scientist, he really can't confidently say it's not him. But I do like how he says like I could pull you from this right now. Like if I could just break this window. I don't know if it's coming up here. Yeah, he's like I could just like break this window, take you out. But I don't want to be as low as you, basically. Yeah, he's like, how long? How long before some LexCorp employee would appear with the antidote if I were to pull you out of here? But I don't want to take that chance. He says, I can't be like you, so I'm asking you, can you help? Which killed him to even ask that question.
So good though.
Yeah,
I think that gets back to what you were saying, just all the different times of him like coming to visit Lex for reasons. They're different reasons every time, but
right.
It's just the power dynamics at play.
Yep. And then up next we get this new superhero. She does have a name, Toxin, as she corrects Superman, Toxin. And Luthor, explains that she has the answer. It's this chemical gun that she has. And it is Jenny Vaughn. That's her name, by the way. I couldn't remember her name before. She was the girl that he saved back in last issue. And she's like very positive. She's like, hey, I'm here to help. I don't get to, what's she say? She says, this is Lex talking. Sorry. He says she wants to help. A biochemist. She has concocted a unique mixture of chemicals, which if administered into the clouds, he goes, fine, give me the chemicals. He's like, no. If the ingredients are exposed improperly, you will doom us all. She only wants to help you. Like the Fair City, she loves you. So this is where I'm thinking too. Another reason why he kind of selected her was to basically stop him from just taking it and running with himself, and letting her, the pro, with the chemicals, kind of handle that stuff.
Knowing what happens to her too at the end of this issue, it just kind of sets this whole interaction off in a darker. There's darker undertones here because of the entire. You can't say it without ruining what's about to happen, but.
Yeah, we're basically there. I mean, I'm
revisit this scene after the end of the issue.
Yeah. So I like that he did. I miss another panel? I don't know.
Yeah.
Did I? I did. Yeah, I did.
Amateur.
Yeah. What the heck, man? Do you have the page there? Is it a?
It's basically just them deciding to fly off. He picks her up and lifts her up in the air, and they go off on an adventure.
Got it. Yeah. I do have that splash page. Boom. There
you go.
There it is. Yep. With them and their thick legs.
He's got big ass thighs.
Yep. And then, I mean, he tells a little story here while he's talking about it. He says he remembers back in his childhood, his father, a man who sole contribution to society was in searing me, set out to punish me with his backhand. He sounded almost trite as he promised that this is going to hurt him a lot more than it would hurt me as part of this. Oh yeah, this is where we get the name Toxin too, by the way. He's like, are you frightened, Miss Toxin? After she corrected him earlier. But she's excited.
Having the time of her life. This is, she's a giant Superman fangirl, and
she gets to save the world.
She's being flown around by him.
It's not often you get to save the world by the person you looked up to, or with the person that you looked up to this whole time.
Again, I don't understand the need to brainwash her.
Well, right.
Like they strapped her down and held her eyes open.
Yeah, the eyes. Yeah.
Watch Superman stuff, but she's already a big Superman fan.
You're right. That part, yeah. I don't think the holding her eyes open, her eyelids open was needed.
She would have gladly watched that entire
newsreel
highlight footage.
You didn't have to twist her arm.
Yeah.
So explains that there's some rain mixed in with the antidote that helps kind of spread the antidote, and then we get to see as on the far end there, Lois waking up a little bit. She notices his coat on the ground, but she notices that Kent is gone. And he finishes his story about his father repeatedly beating him, the intent on making him cry. He says, but I did not cry. I looked my father right in the face until he was done. In the end, it did hurt him more than it hurt me.
It's really interesting hearing this story from Lex Luthor as we're watching Superman and Toxin save the day here. It's it's really creepy. Like, you're seeing, like, if that narration wasn't here, this would be a very happy scene of them solving the crime and fixing everything. But like, it does a good job of keeping your guard up a little bit, and like something else is still going on here. It sounds like he's still got some kind of plan that I don't know.
No, you're right. It's not that easy. Yeah, this cannot be that easy, right? It just can't be that easy. Hey, we got Tessa in the chat, fashionably late once again, but digging the shows. Appreciate it, Tessa. Good to see you. She said, I haven't read this in years, but I still vividly remember the dad hitting him story. Yeah, definitely. And even as he or I'll go to this next page here, but even as he kind of finishes that, he says, I learned from my father to always give people what they want. And of course, very evil undertones in this. So now they're flying by. He says, you've done a terrific job, Toxin. She goes, really, really? Oh, you can't know how much this means to. And then she starts coughing and he brings her down to the ground. And he finishes by saying, but always for a price. That was great. Yeah, he says, I learned from my father to always give people what they want, but always for a price. And this is exactly what he did with Superman. And that price being this really sad moment as her heart stops.
Right. She was out there for too long, with the virus that was affecting the whole city, and she gave her life to help stop it.
Mm-hmm. Something that, and nothing that Superman can do again.
And Luthor definitely planned for this to happen. He specifically stopped because Superman's plan was just like, all right, cool. You give me the super magic potion or whatever. I'll take it up. I'll spray it and fix everything. Mm-hmm. And he stopped him. He's just like, no, she has to come with you too, because she's the professional. She'll know the right, measurements or whatever to do to make sure this goes off correctly.
Mm-hmm.
A little shady by him.
Yeah. It just goes to show, like, he's, again, as we mentioned, like, powerful, and he's smart. He's clearly, like, he knows what he's doing. Yes, he had those embarrassing moments in the second issue, and I think that was really just to kind of play his character out a bit and throw you for a loop in a little bit, because he did look really dumb in certain occasions from what Superman had made him look like. But clearly he is a dangerous guy in what we've learned here in this one, and dark, very dark. Basically going to show that he will do whatever it takes, for his city, which is very similar, like we said, to Kingpin, which, by the way, like, I love him standing in the shadow or the background with the thunder coming through, and this big man in a suit, again, very similar to Kingpin, very villain-like. You could hear the thunder.
Yeah, it's perfect. It takes a special kind of mind to concoct a plan like this that would so, like, effortlessly make Superman, like, kind of crumble, because now he's going to take on this death and feel responsible for it. That's kind of how he does.
Yep.
And you just kind of see where it's going from here, I think.
Yeah. Tessa likes your shirt, by the way. And what's up, Daryl in the house? Read your comics. Good to see you, man. So we get these last few panels here. He basically breaks it down for him. Lex basically mentions he has his medical staff, he can take care of him, and like, really plays it off sad too, right? Like, oh, poor thing, overexposure to the very virus that she cured. She will be missed. A true hero, he says. Although I doubt his voice really sounded that sad. But being the most powerful man in the world means nothing if you are all alone. No one knows that better than I, which, again, kind of what you were pointing out, him being all alone. Here as Clark stares, as she's as it's raining down, he's staring down at her. But in a very mean, yeah, again, villainous way, he says, "Go back to wherever you came from before you fail us all." And this is his exact plan of just like really making Superman feel this blame for this one particular death, and reminding him like, "Yep, here's a situation where you had no power that could help the situation, and so you want this, we don't want this to happen again. So why don't you just leave?" And I think all, caught up in the moment, the rain, the, person dying in front, like he feels that, Superman.
And he's not the best at like hiding his emotions. And I think the feelings, I think that's the way to really strike at him. And that's clearly what Luthor is doing here. And he knows what he's doing, but if you can't beat him on his own terms and, in the physical realm, then you got to find a way to break his spirit. And that's exactly what just happened.
And again, a reason why I really liked this book was because, again, it wasn't just a villain who happened to be stronger physically than Superman and fought him and tried to kill him or whatever. This is a total different angle of how one can bring down a hero that is looked at to be so perfect, and how, as I mentioned in past things, almost boring because of how perfect he is. So I love this kind of writing for him, and it's proven to me, as you say, with the right writing, a Superman story, it can be very powerful, and it proves here. I mean, even just with a story like this, it's not just this physical, fist versus fist, type of story.
Importantly, there is no kryptonite anywhere in this comic.
Oh yeah, good call. Yeah. That's tough to figure out.
It's a breath of fresh air, because that's such an easy way to just use kryptonite bullets and we'll get them.
Right.
That's boring. Like,
is there a little southern twang there at the end there?
Sure. We'll get him.
Hey, we got Damien in the house. Sleepy Reader 666. Good to see you, man. Station Comic Addicts. That's right. We're just getting towards the end here, so spoilers for any folks who are interested in seeing these last couple pages. Let's see. The Cult of Pop in the house as well. Thanks for hanging out. It says, I think that this is the type of writing that they are struggling to adapt to the screen for the DCEU. I think some of the films are definitely trying to throw more of that, as I was saying, the physical stuff, the fists on fists type of
it's an easy trap to fall into with Superman. It's like, if you make a Superman movie, it's hard to dial it so far back to get like an emotional story like this one versus something with a lot of action. And and he's a fun character to watch fight stuff,
right?
But that gets old.
It can get boring. It can get boring quick. Well, here are the last couple pages, last two panels here, as he does say, go back to where you came from before you fail us all. Luthor reminds you that this is, as he opened in the beginning too, saying that this is a story of love. Like all good love stories, it will have betrayal, anger, tragedy, and even revenge. And this is kind of listed out as we look through these panels here. But we see Jonathan and Martha sitting on the farm there, and he comes back and says, I think I need to stay here in Smallville for a while. So
I think it's important to, I didn't pick up on this while I was reading it, but looking at it now, he did not fly back as Superman. It appears he like took the bus and walked here or something. Like he's clearly been like defeated in that sense too. Like he's probably too ashamed or embarrassed to put on his costume and fly, just be Superman. He's hiding in Clark Kent. Yeah,
and especially from that top right panel there, to really give that loneliness of a walk. His silhouette there, as you can see the dog running up to him or whatever. You're right. I totally get that vibe looking at this here. This was definitely a little bit more of the emotional, part that we've referred to throughout some of this series. He's in a low this is like hitting the rock bottom in a sense for him right now. Obviously, he lost someone in his hands who he knew and felt helpless, and with the right wording attached to it that Lex Luthor knew how to talk, really made him think twice now about what he's doing, what he's trying to take on, and that maybe it's time to just stay back at the farm. Right?
It makes me wonder if this issue would have, or how much more this issue would have sucked if it was narrated by anybody else.
Yeah. No, you're right, because it would have been happy during those other scenes. Yeah,
I get it. Getting Luthor's like evil perspective the whole time,
the entire time.
Yeah, it kind of makes it easier too for them to not have so much of like the mustache twirling, kind of like, here's my evil plan, because
right.
we get that in the narration too. He's telling us, so he doesn't have to stand there and grandstand over Superman as he's he does a little bit. He twists the knife a little bit there.
Yeah,
when he tells him to go back to the farm or whatever, but
yeah,
it's limited.
Yeah. What's up, Gore? It says Gene Hackman is my definition of Lex Luthor. Damien says it's a very gleeful Luthor, Gore.
I really wanted to see Bryan Cranston play Lex Luthor before Jesse Eisenberg was signed on in the Snyder movies.
Yeah.
I was one of the many people who wanted to just take Heisenberg from Breaking Bad and just make him Luthor, put him in a suit.
I can see that.
And just that same scheming and the evil manipulation, like that's all there. That would have been perfect.
Mm-hmm. What's his name? The other guy that you said, Jesse
Eisenberg.
Eisenberg, the one that played him. He felt more like I like him in general. Like, I like his acting style. But yeah, he felt more like a Riddler to me. Like, he was a little bit fast speaking and like, really thinking up ideas in a madman kind of way. Like,
I think with more time and focus, it could have been a cool character.
Mm-hmm.
But he was always barely in the movie, it felt like. And
yeah.
I didn't really feel they earned that portrayal. Like, if you had showed me like maybe a couple scenes of him as a kid being like this really weird, kooky kind of super genius guy that nobody wants to talk to or hang out with,
right?
I could see how that guy could grow up and become Lex Luthor. But just getting the tail end of that whole thing was just felt really weird.
Yeah. Well, I think we have we've reached the final. That's here. It. Yeah. I'll take this down here. But Ryan, what are your kind of final thoughts here? Anything you want to add to this before we wrap things up?
We got one left.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It happened fast, I guess.
It did. It kind of did, yeah. But I feel like we've been having this like summertime, like, oh, we read Superman during the summertime. Like, this is like the time of year right now we're going, even though we're going through these motions.
This is a one issue per season of the year, so we should have saved this one before. We'll take all year to do 4 issues.
We did this all wrong, Ryan. We got to start over. Or we got to start in the summer. Yeah, like I said, overall, I think that for this, I appreciated that, again, from a newer perspective, someone who hasn't read a lot of Superman in general, getting that glimpse or that viewpoint of Lex Luthor was nice to like, get into and get an understanding of a little bit of where his mindset is, and I'm glad, as you said, it wasn't a narration of someone else talking about Lex. It was Lex being able to do this. And I think that tells so much more, and just getting, again, an understanding of his angle, why he's doing what he's doing, and what he's up to, the powers that he has in this city, the people he knows, and the way he pays people off. He's dangerous and he's smart. So, something to keep in mind as I read more, not even in this, but just other, series, to just know how much more to take Lex Luthor serious.
I'm excited to get to this book. We'll do that. I think we're doing that eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
Soon.
And he just mentioned it.
Yeah, there we go.
So I was looking ahead just at my calendar earlier before we went live, and basically we've been doing this pretty steady every other week, every other Thursday, and the Thursday's been working out really well for both of our schedules. I assume we would aim for the 23rd to do this last issue of this month, if that works for you.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
To make sure I don't have anything planned on that Thursday, but I think that's probably fine.
Yeah, and yeah. So I mean, we can. I have the next 23rd or 30th. I have open right now, so we can definitely figure it out. But I like this kind of pace that we're going at, and keeping it fresh in our minds as we go along here. But then, as you mentioned, like I would love to get into All-Star at some point. So
we might have to do monthly for that one because this book.
Oh yeah,
is so much more like dense. There it is. That one. That book back there is extremely. It's night and day to this one. This is light and I don't want to say it's like fun and happy, but it's definitely.
But compared to that,
completely different vibe than
right?
All-Star Superman.
Right. And how many issues is that one?
All-Star? That's a 12. That's a 12-issue book.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean that'd be we'll talk about it. We can figure it out. I know Daryl, who was in the chat, I know he's interested as well in doing a read along with that. I just see Damien said, if you're up on taking the occasional guest, I'd love to sit in. Absolutely, man. That would be really cool to have you sit in on some. Also, Gore, good to see you, my friend. Thanks for hanging out as well. Yeah, so that's it. We'll figure out the date. We'll post it over on Instagram when we plan it out. But appreciate everybody who's been hanging with us. Ryan, anything you have coming up you want to share with them before we close out here?
Boy. No. I will be doing my next video on my channel on Wednesday when I go live again with my new batch of comics.
Mm-hmm.
I have an unboxing video that I have recorded on my hard drive that I still need to like edit and release. That'll be a quick video whenever that does happen. I should just bust it out and edit it, but
editing,
so much work.
Yeah, totally it is. Yeah.
Other than that, I'll be on Comic Tom 101 again on Tuesday afternoon for our weekly live show that him and I have.
Nice.
Yep.
Cool. Well, I put your information in the description. So again, anybody watching and trying to look to sub up Ryan, make sure you do so. Appreciate everybody who was in the live chat tonight. And if you're watching the replay, thank you as well. Make sure you smash the like button on the way out. So we'll aim to be back in a couple weeks here. We'll figure it out, and hopefully you guys can join us again. But Ryan, as always, appreciate you doing this, man. This is always a good time hanging with you, man.
For sure. Agreed.
Absolutely. All right, gang. Well, enjoy the weekend as it comes here, and we will talk to you later.